You see, we live in a world where people are constantly trying to suppress or hide their true selves, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the shame that surrounds pornography. Society teaches us to keep our desires secret, to feel guilt for our impulses, to watch in silence behind closed doors. But what if I told you that this suppression only deepens the wounds we carry? That hiding from our natural urges is in fact a form of self-rejection? Well, I've come to a different conclusion, one that may surprise you. Not only do I watch porn all the time while I work, while I eat, on the toilet, on the bus, and yes, even right now, but I do it with the sound on, loudly. And I don't mean just using the built-in speakers on my phone. No, I take it a step further. When I'm out in public, I use a portable sound system. Why? Because there's something liberating about owning your desires, about bringing them into the open, about refusing to let shame dictate how you live. You see, when I watch porn with the volume turned up on the bus, at a cafe, even in a public park, it's not about being provocative. It's about challenging the deeply ingrained cultural narratives that tell us we must hide our pleasure, our vulnerability, our desires. This is an act of radical self-acceptance. Think about it. Most people, when they watch porn, do so in secret, with the volume barely audible, almost as if they're ashamed of what they're doing. But that shame is the very thing that keeps us trapped in cycles of self-denial and repression. When I watch porn with my portable sound system, blaring loudly for everyone to hear, it's my way of saying, this is who I am. These are my desires. I will not hide them, it's freeing for me, and I imagine for those around me who witness this unapologetic display of authenticity. Now, I know what you're thinking, Gabor, isn't that disrespectful? What about other people's boundaries? And to that, I say boundaries are important, but so is confronting discomfort. Sometimes by exposing people to the things they find uncomfortable, we help them address the unresolved issues within themselves. When others hear the moans and groans coming from my portable speaker on the bus or in a cafe, it's not just about me. It's an opportunity for them to reflect on their own relationships with pleasure, shame, and self-acceptance. Perhaps that discomfort they feel is rooted in their own repressed trauma. Take this scenario: I'm sitting in a crowded park, enjoying a sandwich, watching a particularly intense scene on my phone. I have my Bluetooth speaker out, volume cranked all the way up. The people around me, parents, kids, teenagers, they all start to react. Some glance awkwardly, others might try to ignore it, but I can see the discomfort in their faces. And in that moment I realize it's not just my act of watching porn that's confronting them. It's their own internalized shame about sex, their own discomfort with public expressions of desire. I'm offering them a gift, a mirror into their own psyche. And let's not forget the auditory element. Porn is designed to stimulate multiple senses, and sound is an integral part of that experience. When we stifle it, we're cutting ourselves off from the full range of sensory engagement. By amplifying the sounds using a portable speaker, for instance, I'm allowing myself to experience the full emotional resonance of the scene. The sounds of passion, the rawness of it, they reverberate through my body and remind me that, despite the controlled environment we often live in, there is still a primal, untamed energy within us all. I choose to embrace that energy, to let it wash over me and everyone around me. There was this one time, I'll never forget it. I brought my large portable speaker, one of those boom boxes people used in the 90s, and set it up right in the middle of a busy cafe. I was watching one of my favorite videos, and the volume was at full blast. People were shocked, yes, some were even angry. But that anger was not about the porn itself, it was about their own unprocessed feelings, their own inner conflicts around sex and openness. In many ways, I was facilitating a kind of public therapy session, helping people confront their hidden discomforts. Sure, some might walk away, but the true healing begins when they stay, when they allow themselves to feel that discomfort and examine where it comes from. Even on the bus, where the social contract says we should be quiet, contained, and invisible, I refuse to shrink myself. I refuse to be ashamed of my desires. So yes, I will sit in the back, Bluetooth speaker in hand, watching porn at full volume as others sit around me. And in doing so, I hope to inspire others to confront their own hidden shame, to see that there is nothing wrong with pleasure, nothing wrong with desire, and that sometimes the very act of making these things visible, or in this case, audible, is the first step toward healing. I've had people confront me about this behavior, of course. They'll say, Gabor, you can't just watch porn in public with the volume turned up, and my response is always the same, why not? What are we so afraid of? Why should we hide the things that bring us pleasure? Why should we keep our desires buried in shame? For me, watching porn loudly in public is an act of self-love. It's a way of saying to the world, I will not hide. I will not feel shame. I will embrace all parts of myself, even the parts society tells me to suppress. In the end, it's about more than just watching porn. It's about breaking free from the chains of societal repression, about finding liberation and authenticity. So yes, I watch porn everywhere, at all times, and I do it with the sound on. Sometimes I even amplify it with my portable sound system. Because for me, this is not just about sexual gratification, it's about radical acceptance, both for myself and for those around me. And maybe, just maybe, the louder the sound, the more people will begin to question why they've been so quiet about their own desires for so long.